Just not that.
No, I just want to ask questions. If you're ready to go.
I'd like to call to order the May meeting for the town of Shandaken in 2015. Please rise for the pledge of allegiance. Pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Board Member Bernstein?
Here.
Board Member Hickling?
Here.
Board Member Moore?
Here.
Board Member Storrs? Here. Supervisor Serrano?
Here. I entertain a motion to approve the minutes from the previous meetings.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Supervisor financial report, April 2015. Police fees, $15. Fuel reimbursement, $569.70. Supervisor's interest, $3,979.20. Ambulance fees, $3,209.66. Ambulance donation, $100. Cell tower rental, $891.02. Insurance check for the garage door, $4,023.86. Justice fees, $16,592. CEPHP refund, $630.98. New York State retirement refund, $486.34. Forest tax, $5,440.63. Refund for copies, $22.62. Planning fees, $100. Dog licenses, $120. Building permits, $1,970. And quill refund of $11.57 for a total of $38,162.58. Not quite sure. I think that's the money from the state for the forestry program, where they get the supplemented taxes based on doing the 488 forestry program. You might better to check with Heidi on that. Joyce, do you have an answer for that? Forest tax?
The forest tax. Yeah, we don't deal with it. They get reimbursed somehow. It's the deal they have with the DEC.
Yeah,
when they have
so
forestry.
it's probably the forestry program.
Yeah.
Communications. May 2015. Venetian Water. We're making headway on the repair for the water main on Bridge Street Bridge. We have our application ready to be sent to USDA and are just awaiting the final accounting figures and estimates from the engineers. Candace and Alfred have completed the survey, and Candace has compiled the data necessary for our submission for the grant. The engineer and the Ulster County Department of Health are noting that the use of pre-insulated pipe will be cheaper than installing existing iron ductile pipe, which we currently have in stock, with aftermarket insulation and protective jackets. We hope to be submitting the application this week and going out to bid over the next 2 weeks. It does not seem feasible that the work will be completed by the end of the month due to the time needed to manufacture and deliver some of the necessary equipment, which cannot be ordered until the project is awarded to a contractor. We are adding language to bid documents to ensure there is no interference with tourism-related activities or holiday weeks. We have a resolution again this month for several dates that we may use for bidding and contracting services for this project to be completed. Healthcare. A number of years ago, we changed the healthcare contribution rate considerably from previous rates in an effort to offset tax burden. That program has been sufficient in doing so, but at the same time, we have kept salaries at bare minimums. The combination of low salary and high healthcare contribution rates has been noted by multiple departments in trying to fill positions that have become available and difficulties in attracting as many quality candidates for job postings as possible. The additional contributions made by employees has helped us in keeping healthcare costs for the town to a minimum, but to the detriment of workplace morale, effort, and efficiency. Also, in order to better help town staff and myself track the estimated expenditures for healthcare, we're proposing to standardize the healthcare rate at 25% of their selected plan. This is above what others prior to 2012 are paying, but less than the current rates for the post-2012 employees. This change, effective June 1st of this year, is available within existing budget appropriations appropriations and keeps the healthcare expense for the town within reasonable budgetary limits. This would immediately affect 14 of the 22 employees currently paid for healthcare and standardizes the rate through all departments, including the contracts with the police and the highway departments. Miscellaneous. Sadly, Clark Kibble, our newest building inspector, resigned last month due to personal reasons, and we'd like to thank him for his short time with us. Tonight, we are hiring Warren Tutt, a contractor from Hurley, as our newest building inspector, who comes as we head into what looks like to be a busy building season. He's already committed to Monday office hours from 8:30 to 3:30, and other days as needed to make himself as available as he can to applicants. We have 2 resolutions from New York Rising. These are required by the program in order for us to move selected projects forward. They anticipate that we will be going out to bid for these projects in June. None of these changes any policy for the town. They are just to be used for New York Rising bid procedures and project selection. The first project they are highlighting is the 5 Bridges project for bridges in 5 different hollows throughout the town. We have a resolution to accept bids for a new ambulance. Chief Mullally will be taking these back to review and ensure that they're within the specifications provided. If costs and specifications are within what was anticipated, we may have resolutions for the purchase by next month. This is a budgeted item and will not increase tax burden. We have a resolution to create the Pine Hill 2020 Committee. This committee will be utilized to help ensure local resident and business owner input into how to revitalize Pine Hill. Peg Ellsworth, Executive Director of the MARC project, will be assisting in the process and assist us in finding grants and funding for whatever vision this planning committee draws. Our last resolution concerns the Festival of the Voice, as we look forward to another successful event for them in the town of Shandaken. As each year seems to improve, we cannot wait to see what this year's event brings, celebrating American music and composers. Byway. Last Friday, I was part of a presentation for the Catskill Mountain Scenic Byway at the State DOT offices. After a 15-minute presentation and a few questions, the Scenic Byway Advisory Board officially and unanimously approved our application. This is big news for a lot of people who have worked on this effort for more than 7 years. Congratulations to everyone who worked on this, and we're looking forward to the marketing effort that is sure to follow over the next few years. Our next meeting is scheduled for Monday, June 1st at 7 p.m. June. With that, any other board members have any communications, meetings, events?
I got something not specifically to Shandaken here, but let's see what the dates are here. Anyway, the 2nd Annual United States Army Sergeant Sean M. Farrell II Scholarship Memorial Fund Bad Bass Fishing Tournament, Pig Roast and Barbecue is going to be held July 18, 2015, rain or shine. Sergeant Sean Farrell was killed on April 28, 2014 in Nedrop District, Kapisa Province, Afghanistan. Wounds suffered when enemy forces attacked his unit with small arms fire while on dismounted patrol. At the time of his death, Sean was assigned to the 1st Battalion, 32nd Infantry Regiment, 3rd Brigade Combat Team, 10th Mountain Division, Fort Drum, New York. This memorial fund is going to go toward a scholarship program in his name, and the information is on this flyer here. I can put it on the desk here. I got a few more of them. I was going to give it to Joyce, and she said that even though this isn't a town of Shandaken event, she may put it on the website.
Okay, so this coming Wednesday night is Computer Help Night at the Phoenicia Library from 6 to 7:30. If you're new at using a computer or need help with any of your devices, just call or stop by the library this Wednesday at 6 p.m. And we hold these the first Wednesday of every month. Last time we had about 12, 15 people there, so it's pretty good. You know, helping them with Skype, email, downloading, anything you can imagine. Town of Shandaken, in cooperation with the Upstate Spay and Neuter Services, will be offering high-quality, low-cost dog and cat spay, neuter, and other services from a fully equipped mobile surgical unit, which will be located here at the Town Hall on a monthly basis. Their first visit will be here Saturday, May 16th. After you make the appointment with them, you would drop off your pet in the morning and pick it up in the afternoon. This is a great service. It cuts the cost by about 2/3 of what it normally costs if you went to a vet. And this is a very popular vet, Dr. Bridget Bloom, who's our vet for our rabies clinics. And her phone number is 845-901-4637 to make an appointment. And if you go on their website, we have all the information in our office. We put it on Facebook and the website, and we have all the prices there. The town clerk's office has also started a Shandaken cat project to help with the cost of spaying cats for full-time residents. If you need help, you could buy a voucher for $25 to get your cat spayed or neutered. And this is through the effort of Shandaken Animal Volunteer Effort. They're going to pick up the rest of the fee, and again, in cooperation with Dr. Bridget Bloom. 2 events coming up. The 5th annual Bake Off with Mama's Boys in Phoenicia is Saturday, May 9th at 1 p.m. Call or stop by if you want to enter, bake. You bake?
I'm judging.
I don't. And you can be there at 1 p.m. if you want to bid on the entrance. Proceeds go to the Phoenicia Library. And lastly, the Big Indian Algeria Firehouse is hosting a blood drive again this year, sponsored by Sarah Rudge, Patty Rudge's daughter. Saturday, May 30th from 9 a.m. to 1. You can stop by or make an appointment with Sarah and call her at 254-4126. That's it.
Anybody else?
Yeah, Saturday was the women's Woodstock bicycle race that came through, and that was really, I want to thank Chad and all the police and Gary Carr and all the firemen, everybody that helped to do that, to get it. This was the first year they came through Phoenicia, and they had a time trial in the middle of town. It was actually really nice to watch. Man. It's great to see the ladies out there doing their thing. So I want to thank everybody that was involved, and I hope next year that they come through Phoenicia a little more, man. We got the great roads.
We had the best weather in the world.
Yeah, the weather was great.
Absolutely.
It's just that the roads were terrible themselves, you know.
Next year, I think we do a post on the Shandaken page to try to line the street when those ladies come.
Yeah, it's really like.
Kind of sparse, but we'll build on this, Martin, we'll build on it.
Yeah, and Martin's not here today, so that's,
Thank you for a wonderful event.
yeah. They were really nice, to help you, to include us in that. That was really good. Appreciate it.
Memorial Day?
I didn't write that down. The Memorial Day Parade will first again be in Phoenicia. Kickoff is probably 10:30, 11:15 in front of Gormley's on Monday, 23rd. Get there in a second. Did you catch me at 5:30 on that?
Monday the 25th.
25th, I'm sorry. 25th.
So Monday the 25th, 10:30 is where we meet, and then afterwards they generally have a barbecue at the Legion.
Hey Rob, I just want to thank Darren and David Heinlein for putting on a benefit for the people of Chichester who tragically lost their house. Did a benefit at the Boys to Win, and thank Barbara and John Parody for the food they donated. And it was a success. So I just want to thank them.
Okay. If we have no more communications, we have some members here from the Ontario School Board and to present the budget. We're on the clock. I watched the draft this weekend. They pulled the line,
Okay.
which the Jets rocked. They rocked the draft for it. But anyway, we're 15 minutes.
All right, synchronizing my watch now. Thank you for having us. I'm Victoria McLaren. I'm normally the Assistant Superintendent for Business. I'm acting superintendent right now while Dr. McGill is away. So I'll walk you through the presentation. I will try not to read every slide to you because you're more than capable of doing that, but then feel free to ask any questions. The first slide, which is actually page 2, is just a highlight of the budget indicating that we are preserving all of the services and programs that we currently have for our students. We are reducing the budget a little bit, $219,000. And after 3 years of a 0% tax levy increase, we are raising the tax levy by less than 1%. So I think we have a good run going here. The next slide is the staffing. You'll see that we have done a slight reduction in the high school based on need. So we're having a full-time position be replaced by a 0.6 position in the science department. We have one elementary reduction based on reduction in the number of sections at the elementary level. We are adding back a library media specialist at the elementary level. We had eliminated 2 of those positions a few years ago, and we want to utilize that position to help integrate technology back into the primary buildings. And we are increasing our English as a second language, which is also English language learners, and honestly, I can't remember what the MLL stands for. But we are required to deliver our services in a different and more enhanced way by regulation. This is an unfunded mandate from the state, but in order to comply with that, we have to increase that staffing. And we're also changing how we are dealing with our data reporting to the state. We have currently a database program specialist in the district, and we have tried to support that person by providing a part-time typist to help with the data, but it's really not appropriate, and so we're going to eliminate that part-time typist position and create a full-time additional database program specialist. And we're also going to be then eliminating the overtime that our current database specialist has been putting in. So that's going to end up being sort of budget neutral. And we are once again offering our summer academic intervention program for our K-8 students who need a little additional help. So as I said, a slight reduction in the budget, about $220,000 or less than 0.5%. And you might remember in the past couple of years when we've come, I've indicated that we have been putting money in the transfer to capital line in our operating budget to do capital projects, $1 million to almost $1.5 million each year. We've pulled that out, which is why one of the reasons that we were able to reduce the budget despite increasing salary and benefit and other costs. So that's in large part why our budget was able to be reduced. And if you look at the next page, you can see how it's broken up in the different areas of the school, instruction being over half of our costs, and our employee benefits being almost 30% of our costs. And the other slices of our pie are pretty small, transportation being one of the larger of the remaining slices, just based on our geography. And the next slide is the way the state requires us to look at our budget in the three parts: administrative, program, and capital. And you can see that when you look at it this way, program, and this incorporates salaries and benefits, and all of the expenses related to the program for the students, it does take up well over 80% of our budget, which is how it should be in a school district. Our administrative portion is less than 9%, and our capital is about 9.5%. So on the next slide, you can see how that's worked out for the past several years. And just as I said a minute ago about us having spent money on capital projects, if you look at the capital line on the bottom, you can see there was an increase in the 13-14 and the 14-15 years, but that's dropped back down to 9.5%. You can see that our program expenditures have been pretty consistent as the largest share of our budget going to the program. And the administrative component has stayed pretty much in the same area for the number of years. So for our levy, we're increasing by less than $350,000, which is less than 1%. It's 0.87%. And we are utilizing $2.5 million of our fund balance to offset the levy. And as you may know, we are only allowed to actually keep 4% fund balance. So this is giving back the money to the taxpayers so that we don't exceed our allowable limit for having fund balance. And in the past number of years ago, historically, we generally used $2 million, but the past couple of years we've used more, so we're bringing it back down to our more traditional levels. And if we had looked to use the maximum allowable tax levy limit as calculated by the state, we would have been allowed to go up over 3%. But that was not necessary, and we wouldn't want to do that. And the next slide just goes over the historical budget and levy increases for the past 5 years and shows how we had maintained that 0% levy increase for a number of years. So now we're asking to increase by less than 1%. And you can see the budget going up and down. In the 2012-13 year, you can see how the budget went down, and that was driven in large part by the reconfiguration when we were able to save some money. And in our very last slide is just information regarding our vote. The budget vote and the Board of Education trustee election are on May 19th from 2 to 9 p.m. in all of our elementary buildings. There are 3 seats up for vote on our Board of Education. We have 2 people who are currently on the board running, and then 1 new person running.
I have a question. The money that was pulled out for capital improvements, does that mean some capital improvements will not be done or?
Really what we decided to do was you may or may not remember, last year, we asked the voters to vote on a $7 million capital project, and the board has also authorized us to do an energy performance contract, so we're gonna have a lot of improvements going on. In addition to, we're also doing brick facade work on all of our buildings out of our repair reserve. So we have a lot going on, and we really almost thought that it would be too much to try and do.
So we can gamble with that being pulled out.
Yes. Yeah, we're gonna actually get a lot of really good stuff done. The bulk of our $7 million project is gonna be dealing with the heating infrastructure in the middle high school. We're gonna be replacing the boilers and all of the, we have steam pipes throughout the building that are all well over 50 years old and in terrible shape. So we're gonna be replacing all of our pipes and converting to hot water.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I got a question. On the proposed budget staffing,
Yep.
one full-time employee database program special edition. Could you tell us what the salaries are for that?
The salary range, I believe, is about 30, this is very rough, 30 to 50,000.
30 to 50,000?
And that's a competitive civil service position. So there are qualifications, education, experience required, and then the person has to take an exam in
What
order to
about the
appear on the
instructional
list.
staffing? Just looking at instructional staffing, 2.5 full-time employees, addition due to changes in regulation requiring additional services?
Right, that's our English as a second language
Okay.
department, and we're required, the regulations have changed this year and how we deliver service, and we are going to be required in order to be in compliance with the new regulations.
So what is that salary, do you know? What the salary is that?
Well, starting master's salary is about 60,000.
60,000?
So it depends on, it really depends on who we're able to attract to our district. I would think that we're an attractive district.
Last year, they had those listed, these salaries of what they were actually getting on the addition.
Might have been on the reductions.
That was on the additions. You hired a full-time employee. It was a,
Because there's 20 steps on the teacher's salary schedule, so
Okay.
it kind of depends on what experience somebody comes with.
Any other questions?
what are they doing with West Early School?
It's on the market currently with Win Morrison.
It is on the market.
It is on the market, yep.
Great.
The board entered into a contract with Win Morrison. That goes through August.
Has there been any,
We've had one inquiry, but it didn't result in anything at this point. We're hopeful.
what's the asking price, do you know?
$1 million?
$1 million?
Yes, can you tell me what the student budget ratio is? Over the last several years, has the student population gone down? Has it gone up? I'd like to see what comparison is in that change to the budget.
Our student population has gone down. We're at 1346 right now.
So in other words, the cost per student is going up.
The cost per student is rising based on all of the normal pressures and expenses that every business has. Our salaries increase each year and our benefits increase each year.
Can you give us an idea of what that rate of increase is?
I don't know the percentage increase each year. I don't.
I'd like to see what that number is in relation to inflation. So that's the reason for
Okay.
my asking.
That's it.
I just have one other question. Is there another board meeting prior to the budget vote?
We have a board meeting tomorrow night. Yes.
Tomorrow night, where, when?
Tomorrow night at the middle high school at 6 p.m., but the public session is probably going to start at 7. And we will be presenting the budget again. It's the budget hearing. Everybody's welcome to come.
Okay.
You're welcome.
I got one question about the budget. I'm sorry.
Well, it's-
I mean, it says on the graph here, you said instructions is 51.57. Now, is the onto and non-teachers, like say the people that work in the cafeteria or the janitors, would that be operations and maintenance?
Non-teaching would be in various different areas here. So for instruction, you would have all of your teaching assistants and your monitors.
Okay,
Janitors and maintenance would be in operations and maintenance. Bus drivers would be in transportation.
okay.
Some of the clerical staff would be in general support.
What about cafeteria?
Operations and maintenance.
You know what, cafeteria is not in the general fund budget, they are in their own budget.
Okay.
So they would not actually be represented here.
So that represents-
There's some contract.
No, they're district employees, but the cafeteria, school lunch fund is a separate fund. And there's actually a line item in our general fund budget where we subsidize it because they cannot break even. But they are a separate fund, they are not included in the general fund. They're accounted for on their own.
I'm not understanding that.
We have, in school districts, we have the general fund budget,
Right,
we have the school lunch fund budget,
right,
we have a capital fund,
right.
and we have a special aid fund, which special aid would be for grants, because you don't bring grants through your general fund. You have to account for them separately. So if you look at our external audit report, you'll see all of those funds represented and audited.
And those funds would be what we're paying taxes on,
We raise
All?
taxes to fund the general fund,
just the general?
just the general fund. The general fund does subsidize the school lunch fund. It does not subsidize the capital fund or the special aid fund.
Basically, I'm getting it. The lunch program funds itself through the revenue generated by the lunch program.
It's supposed to.
Isn't self-sufficient enough.
Correct.
So it needs subsidization to it.
Exactly.
What is it subsidizing?
It's about $350,000.
How much is it again?
$350,000.
You have to subsidize the lunch program.
Out of, and what is their budget?
I believe their budget is around $1 million.
Is that due to the number of students on reduced rate lunches or free lunches?
A lot of what it is that we have a veteran staff who are wonderful, and they get salaries and full-time benefits. Some of it is the healthy choices that the district has chosen to use for our food. You know, our school district does not offer food to students that has high fructose corn syrup. You know, we make purchases of food that is of much higher quality than some districts.
I should cover that.
How much is in the fund balance total now?
Well, it depends on what you're talking about.
The total fund balance that you borrowed, you're taking up the $2 million from.
We're gonna have nothing,
When you're offsetting the $2 million.
right. Well,
No, and the whole tax levy,
the way that it
says
works,
you're utilizing $2.5 million of fund balance to offset levy.
so we're gonna end up carrying over about $2 million, because that's about our 4% that we're legally allowed to carry over.
But is there a certain amount in the fund balance, like 10 million?
That's gonna be what's left, the $2 million that we're allowed to carry
Because it
over.
was 10 million not that long ago, right?
Well, that depends on what you're including in fund balance, because our reserve funds are also sometimes thought of as fund balance, but they're not really fund balance.
Okay. So there's 2 million left in that?
There's $2 million
After
of
this year?
unappropriated fund balance.
Okay. So next year, if you need to borrow 2 million or 2.5 million, you won't have it. You only have 2 million you can borrow from?
Unless we don't spend our full budget.
Okay.
At the end of the year, that's how we calculate what our fund balance is. We see how much we took in our revenues and how much we actually had to expense, and then whatever's left, we then have to use to offset the levy for the next year.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Victoria. Appreciate it. School board members, appreciate it.